Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Cat Tales, a Warrior Cats Reread podcast. I'm your host, Coffee, and today we're going to jump right back into Rising Storm, the fourth book in the first Warrior Cats arc. Where we last left off, Blue Star had announced Fireheart's deputy position at the gathering, and everybody was pretty shocked about that. Cloudpaw is still not behaving and listening to Fireheart, and Blue Star had insisted on traveling to Highstones to speak with StarClan, but WindClan actually stopped them. Fireheart's kind of going through the ringer a little bit. But today, we're going to be reading chapters 8 through 11 of Rising Storm, and we're going to get right to it. Starting with chapter 8, quote, "Mews of alarm and the pounding of paws in the clearing roused Fireheart from sleep. He blinked against the glaring sunshine that streamed between the branches above the warrior's den. A golden head appeared through the wall of leaves. It was Sandstorm, her pale green eyes gleaming with excitement.
"We've captured 2 Shadowclan warriors,"
she meowed breathlessly. Fireheart leaped to his paws, instantly awake.
"What? Where?"
"By the owl tree,"
Sandstorm explained, adding.
"They were asleep."
Her voice betrayed her scorn at the ShadowClan cat's carelessness. That is bold. ShadowClan cats sleeping in ThunderClan territory? That is wild.
"Have you told Blue Star?"
"Dustpelt's telling her now."
She ducked out of the warrior's den, and Fireheart sprang after her, past Running Wind, who jerked up his head, startled awake by the commotion. Fireheart had slept fitfully after returning from the gathering, shaken by the loaded silence that had greeted the announcement of his deputyship. His dreams had been filled with unknown cats that recoiled from him as if he were an owl of ill omen flying through a forest of shadows. That's a little throwback to the owl in the prologue. He thought he had left his days as an outsider behind him, but the challenging stares from the other cats had warned him that he was still not fully accepted into forest life. He just hoped they didn't find out about the broken naming ritual. That would only reinforce their uneasiness about a kitty pet replacing a respected clan-board deputy. Now he faced yet another challenge. How would he deal with enemy cats captured on ThunderClan territory? Fireheart found himself hoping that Blue Star would be in a calm enough mood to guide him. The Dawn Patrol was gathered in a circle in the middle of the clearing. Fireheart pushed his way through them and saw 2 ShadowClan cats crouching on the hard earth, their tails bushed out and their ears flattened. He recognized one of the warriors at once. It was Little Cloud, a brown tabby tom. They'd met at a gathering when Little Cloud was no more than a kit. He had been forced into apprenticeship by Broken Tail when he was only 3 moons old. He was fully grown now, but still small-framed, and he looked in a bad way. Is this grammatically correct? This might be another Britishism. He looked in a bad way. I'm gonna pull out trusty Google for this one. Definitions are from the Cambridge English Dictionary: to be sick, unhappy, or in a bad state. So yeah, it is technically correct, but it's another Britishism. Just say someone looks bad, bro. He looked to be in a bad way. You can shorten that. Anyway, his fur was matted and he stank of crow food and fear. His haunches were bony, like featherless wings, and his eyes were sunk into his head. The other one wasn't much better off.
"These were hardly warriors to be afraid of,"
Fireheart thought with a twinge of unease. He looked at Whitestorm, who had led the Dawn Patrol.
"Did they put up a fight when you found them?"
"No.
Whitestorm admitted, flicking his tail.
When we woke them up, they begged us to bring them here."
Fireheart felt confused.
"Begged you?"
He echoed.
"Why would they do that?"
"Where are these ShadowClan warriors?"
yowled Blue Star, pushing her way through the audience of cats, her face twisted in fear and rage. Fireheart felt his belly tense.
"Is this another attack?"
She hissed at the 2 wretched cats.
"Whitestorm found them on patrol.
Fireheart explained quickly.
They were sleeping in ThunderClan territory."
"Sleeping?"
Snarled Blue Star, her ears flat against her head.
"Well, have we been invaded or not?"
"These were the only warriors we found."
Meowed Whitestorm.
"Are you sure?"
Demanded Blue Star.
"It could be a trap."
As Fireheart looked at these 2 sorry creatures, his instinct told him that invasion was the last thing on their minds. But Blue Star had a point. It would be wise to make sure there were no other ShadowClan cats hiding in the woods, waiting for a signal to attack. He called to Mousefur and Dustpelt.
"You 2, take a warrior and an apprentice each. Start at the Thunderpath and work your way back to camp. I want every bit of the territory searched for signs of ShadowClan."
To Fireheart's relief, the 2 warriors obeyed instantly. Dustpelt called Running Wind and Ashpaw, while Mousefur signaled to Swiftpaw and Brackenfur. Then the 6 cats raced out of the camp and into the forest. Fireheart turned back to the trembling captives.
"What are you doing in ThunderClan territory?"
he asked.
"Little Cloud, why are you here?"
The tabby tom stared up at Fireheart with round, frightened eyes, and Fireheart felt a stab of sympathy. The cat looked as lost and helpless as he'd been at that first gathering when he was a barely weaned kit.
"Whitethroat and I came here, hoping you'd give us food and healing herbs."
Little Cloud stammered at last. Hisses of disbelief rose from the ThunderClan cats, and Little Cloud shrank back, pressing his scrawny body against the earth. Fireheart stared at the prisoner in amazement.
"Since when did ShadowClan cats seek help from their bitterest enemy?"
"Fireheart, wait."
The voice of Cinderpelt sounded softly in Fireheart's ear. She was studying the 2 ShadowClan cats with narrowed eyes.
These cats are no threat to us. They are sick.
She limped forward and touched Little Cloud's forepaw gently with her nose.
His pad is warm.
She mewed.
He has a fever.
Cinderpelt was about to sniff the second cat's paw when Yellowfang forced her way through the throng of cats.
No, Cinderpelt!
She screeched.
Get away from them!
Cinderpelt leaped around.
Why? These cats are sick. We must help them.
She twisted her head, looking pleadingly first at Fireheart, then at Bluestar. Every cat turned expectantly to Bluestar, but the ThunderClan leader just stared, huge-eyed, at the captives. Fireheart could see the old gray she-cat struggling with bewilderment and fear, her eyes clouded with confusion. He realized he had to distract the cat's attention while the troubled leader gathered her thoughts.
Why us? What made you come to our territory?
He asked the two prisoners again. The other ShadowClan cat, Whitethroat, spoke this time. He was a black tom with paws and a chest that used to be white but were now stained with dust.
You helped ShadowClan before when we drove out Broken Tail,
he explained quietly.
But ThunderClan also gave sanctuary to the ShadowClan leader.
Fireheart thought with a ripple of unease. Had Whitethroat forgotten that? Then he realized that Broken Tail had forced these cats into their apprenticeships when they were barely old enough to leave their mother's sides. Banishing their cool leader must have come as such a relief that what had happened to him afterward paled into insignificance. And now that Broken Tail was dead, there was no threat to the ShadowClan warriors from the ThunderClan camp beyond normal clan rivalry. Whitethroat went on.
We hoped you would be able to help us now. Nightstar is sick. The camp is in chaos with so many cats ill. There are not enough herbs or fresh kill to go around.
What's Running Nose doing? He's your medicine cat. It's up to him to tend to you,
spat Yellowfang, before Fireheart could say anything. Fireheart was taken aback by her tone. Yellowfang had once belonged to ShadowClan. Even though Fireheart knew her loyalties lay with ThunderClan now, he was surprised at her lack of compassion toward her former clanmates.
Nightstar seemed all right at the gathering last night.
Darkstripe growled.
Yes,
agreed Bluestar, narrowing her eyes suspiciously. But Fireheart remembered how frail the ShadowClan leader had seemed, and he was not surprised when Little Cloud mewed.
He got worse when he returned to the camp. Running Nose was with him all night. He won't leave Nightstar's side. He let a kit die at its mother's belly without even a poppy seed to ease its journey to StarClan. We are afraid that he'll let us die too. Please help us.
Neglecting your whole clan for one cat is kinda gay. Nightstar is the leader, but that's... Has anyone drawn fan art of Running Nose and Nightstar, Yowie? Little Cloud's plea sounded real enough to Fireheart. He looked hopefully at Bluestar, but her blue eyes still looked bewildered.
They must leave,
insisted Yellowfang in a low growl.
Why?
Fireheart blurted out.
They're no threat to us in this state.
They carry a disease I've seen before in ShadowClan.
Yellowfang began to circle the ShadowClan cats, studying them but keeping her distance.
It killed many cats last time.
It's not green cough, is it?
Fireheart asked. Some of the ThunderClan cats began to edge slowly backward as Fireheart mentioned the sickness that had ravaged their own clan during Leaf Bear.
No, it has no name,
Yellowfang muttered, keeping her eyes fixed on the captives.
It comes from the rats that live on a two-leg dump on the far side of ShadowClan territory.
She glared at Little Cloud.
Surely the elders know those two-leg rats carry sickness and must never be taken as prey.
An apprentice brought the rat back,
explained Little Cloud.
He was too young to remember.
Fireheart listened to the sick cat's labored breathing as the ThunderClan cats looked on in silence.
What should we do?
He asked Bluestar. Yellowfang spoke up before she could answer.
Bluestar, it is not long since green cough devastated our clan,
she reminded her.
You lost a leg then.
The medicine cat narrowed her eyes, and Fireheart guessed what she must be thinking. If only he and Yellowfang knew that Bluestar was on her last life. If the disease spread into ThunderClan, she might die, and ThunderClan would be left without a leader. The thought turned Fireheart's blood to ice, and he shivered in spite of the hot morning sun. Bluestar nodded.
You are right, Yellowfang.
She meowed quietly.
These cats must leave. Fireheart, send them away.
Her voice was flat and expressionless as she turned back to her den. Reluctantly, his relief at reaching a decision tempered by pity for the sick cats, Fireheart meowed.
Sandstorm and I will escort the ShadowClan warriors back to their border.
Mews of approval rippled through the other cats. Little Cloud stared at Fireheart, pleading with his eyes. Fireheart forced himself to look away.
Go back to your dens,
he told his clanmates. So the ThunderClan cats go back to their dens. Cinderpelt begs to help the ShadowClan cats, but Yellowfang calls to her to wash the sickness off her muzzle, and threatens to add nettle leaves to the mixture. Perfect 10 out of 10. Sandstorm comes up to Fireheart, and he can see her compassion in her eyes. She understands the conflict of wanting to help but needing to protect the clan. Fireheart and Sandstorm tell the ShadowClan cats that they'll escort them across the Thunderpath. As they head across the territory, Fireheart catches a mouse for them. He justifies it because they'll need their strength to return to camp, and he gives it to them, so once again, breaking the code. Unfortunately, the ShadowClan cats immediately throw up the food. They can't eat. This sounds like it's rabies, but I'm not entirely sure. And they eventually reach the Thunderpath, but Little Cloud insists that they cross alone. Fireheart relents and lets them go. Sandstorm asks if they should follow them, and Fireheart agrees. Sandstorm notices they're not going the right way. Fireheart becomes anxious that they are in fact going to attack ThunderClan territory, so they keep following them. The ShadowClan cats are following a trail parallel to the Thunderpath. The two warriors crossed the border that was close to the Thunderpath, unaware of their followers, into a clump of brambles. Fireheart and Sandstorm cross the border too, trying to ensure that the warriors are returning to their camp. They emerge practically onto the Thunderpath. Sandstorm flinches as a monster roars past. She questions where the ShadowClan cats are. Fireheart can't see anything, but the cats couldn't have already crossed that quickly. Quote,
Look,
Sandstorm hissed. She pointed with her nose. Fireheart followed her wide-eyed stare along the dusty strip of grass. It was empty apart from a tiny flicker of movement where the tip of Whitethroat's tail was disappearing into the ground, underneath the stinking flat stone of the Thunderpath. Fireheart's eyes grew round with disbelief. It was as if the Thunderpath had opened its mouth and swallowed the ShadowClan cats whole. And that's the end of Chapter 8. Getting right into Chapter 9, Sandstorm wants to take a closer look. As they approach, they can see that it's a stone tunnel, similar to the one Fireheart used with Greystripe on the way to find WindClan. He can smell the ShadowClan cats, so they've definitely come this way. Quote, the tunnel was perfectly round, lined with pale cream stone about the height of 2 cats. The moss that grew halfway up the smooth sides told Fireheart that the tunnel ran with water during Leaf Bear. Now it was dry, the bottom littered with leaves and 2-leg rubbish. Secret tunnel! Secret tunnel! That's what this reminded me of. Immediately, Secret Tunnel started playing in my head. That's the best song from the Avatar series, by the way. I don't make the rules. Fireheart and Sandstorm figure out that ShadowClan likely uses this tunnel to get to gatherings. Fireheart realizes that they wanted to keep it a secret, which is why Little Cloud and Whitethroat really insisted that they cross alone. Fireheart decides that they should tell Blue Star about it, so they decide to go back to camp. Quote,
Blue Star.
Hotter than ever and breathless after the run home, Fireheart went straight to Blue Star's den.
Yes,
Came the answer through the lichen. Fireheart pushed his way in. The ThunderClan leader was lying in her nest with paws tucked neatly under her chest.
We found a tunnel just inside ShadowClan territory.
He told her.
It leads under the Thunderpath.
I hope you didn't follow it,
Growled Blue Star. Fireheart hesitated. He had expected his leader to be excited by this discovery. Instead, her tone was harsh and accusing.
No, we didn't.
He stammered.
You took too much risk entering their territory at all. We don't want to antagonize ShadowClan.
If ShadowClan is as weak as the warrior said, I don't think they do anything about it.
He pointed out. But Blue Star stared past him, apparently busy with her own thoughts.
Have those 2 cats gone?
She asked.
Yes, they went through the tunnel. That's how we found it.
Fireheart explained. Blue Star nodded distantly.
I see.
Fireheart searched the ThunderClan leader's eyes for some hint of compassion. Didn't she care about the sickness in ShadowClan at all?
Did we do the right thing, sending them back?
He couldn't help asking.
Of course.
Snapped Blue Star.
We don't want sickness in the camp again.
No, we don't.
Fireheart agreed heavily. As he turned to leave, Blue Star added.
Don't tell anyone about the tunnel yet.
Okay.
Fireheart promised, slipping through the lichen. He wondered why Blue Star wanted to keep the tunnel a secret. After all, he had uncovered a weakness in ShadowClan's border that could become a strength for ThunderClan. Not that he felt ShadowClan deserved any sort of attack at the moment, but surely a better knowledge of the Force could only be a good thing? I don't know, I think it's right for Blue Star to keep it a secret for now, because some warriors in camp might get ideas and try to take advantage of ShadowClan when they're very weak, which would not be good. Fireheart sighed as Sandstorm dashed up to him.
What did she say? Was she pleased we'd found the tunnel?
She demanded. Fireheart shook his head.
She told me to keep it a secret.
Why?
Sandstorm meowed in surprise. Fireheart shrugged and kept going toward his den. Sandstorm trotted after him.
Are you okay?
She asked.
Is it Blue Star? Did she say anything else?
Fireheart realized he was giving away too much of his anxiety about the ThunderClan leader. He bent to give his chest a quick lick, then lifted his head and meowed with forced brightness.
I must go. I promised I'd take Cloudpaw hunting this afternoon.
Do you want me to come with you?
Sandstorm's eyes looked concerned, and she added,
It'll be fun. We haven't been hunting together for ages.
She nodded toward the apprentice's den, where Cloudpaw was dozing in the sunshine. The apprentice's plump, furry belly rose and fell as he breathed.
He certainly needs the exercise,
She added.
He's beginning to look like Willowpelt.
She purred with amusement.
He must be quite a hunter. I don't think I've ever seen a clan cat that fat.
Fat-shaming a child is crazy, Sandstorm. There was no spite in Sandstorm's voice, but Fireheart felt his fur growing hot. Cloudpaw did look fat for such a young cat, much fatter than the other apprentices, even though they were all enjoying the plentiful prey of Greenleaf.
I think I should take Cloudpaw out by myself.
He meowed reluctantly.
I've been neglecting him a bit lately. Could we go out together another time?
Just let me know when.
Sandstorm responded cheerfully.
I'll be there. I could catch us another rabbit.
Fireheart saw mischief flash in her pale green eyes, and he knew she was referring to the time they'd hunted together in a snowbound forest that shimmered with frost, when she had surprised him with her speed and skill.
Unless you finally learned how to catch them for yourself.
Sandstorm teased, flicking Fireheart's cheek with her tail as she trotted away. Watching her go, Fireheart felt a strange, happy prickling in his paws. He's finally starting to like her back, it looks like. He shook his head and patted over to Cloudpaw. The sleepy apprentice arched his back and stretched, his short legs quivering with the effort.
Have you been out of the camp today?
Fireheart asked.
No.
Answered Cloudpaw.
Well, we're going hunting.
Fireheart informed him curtly. He felt ruffled by the way Cloudpaw seemed to think he could just lie about and enjoy the sunshine.
You must be hungry.
Not really,
replied Cloudpaw. Fireheart felt puzzled. Had Cloudpaw been stealing from the Freshco pile? Apprentices were not allowed to take food until they had hunted for the elders or gone training with their mentors. Fireheart dismissed the thought instantly. The apprentice couldn't have managed it without one of the clans seeing him.
Well, if you're not hungry, we'll start in the training hall for some fighting practice.
He meowed.
We can hunt afterward.
Without giving the young cat a chance to object, Fireheart raced out of the camp. He heard Cloudpaw's paw steps thumping after him, but he didn't look back or slow his pace until he reached the sheltered hollow where he had trained as an apprentice. He stopped in the middle of the sandy clearing. The air was so still that, even in the shade, the midday heat felt stifling.
Attack me,
he ordered as Cloudpaw scrambled down the slope to join him, his paws sending up puffs of red dust that clung to his long white fur. Cloudpaw stared at him, wrinkling his nose.
What? Just like that?
Yes,
replied Fireheart.
Pretend I'm an enemy warrior.
Okay.
Cloudpaw shrugged and began racing half-heartedly toward him. His round belly slowed him down, making a small paws sink deep into the sand. Fireheart had plenty of time to prepare himself so that when Cloudpaw finally reached him, it was easy to dodge to one side and send the young apprentice rolling into the dust. Cloudpaw clambered to his paws and shook himself, sneezing as the dust tickled his nostrils.
Too slow,
Fireheart told him.
Try again.
Cloudpaw crouched down, breathing hard, and narrowed his eyes. Fireheart stared back, impressed by the intensity of Cloudpaw's gaze. This time the apprentice looked as if he were actually thinking about the attack. Cloudpaw leaped and flew at Fireheart, twisting as he landed so that he could kick Fireheart with his hind legs. Fireheart staggered but managed to keep his balance and send Cloudpaw flying with a swipe from his front paw.
Better,
he puffed.
But you're not prepared for the counter-strike.
Counter-strike? Like the game? In Warriors? Cloudpaw lay unmoving in the sand.
Cloudpaw?
Fireheart meowed. The blow from his front paw had been heavy, but surely not enough to hurt. The apprentice's ear twitched, but he stayed where he was. Fireheart padded over to him, his fur suddenly prickling with worry. He peered down and saw that Cloudpaw's eyes were wide open.
You've killed me!
The apprentice gasped mockingly and rolled feebly onto his back. 10 out of 10. Really funny. Fireheart snorted.
Stop messing around,
he snapped.
This is serious.
Okay.
Cloudpaw struggled to his paws, still panting.
But I'm hungry now. Can we go hunting?
Fireheart opened his mouth to argue. Then he remembered Whitestorm's words.
He'll learn when he's ready.
Perhaps it was better to let Cloudpaw train at his own pace after all. So far, arguing had been a complete waste of time.
Come on, then.
Fireheart sighed and led Cloudpaw out of the training hollow. As they trekked along the bottom of the ravine into the forest, Cloudpaw stopped and sniffed the air.
I smell rabbit,
he mewed. Fireheart lifted his nose. The apprentice was right.
Over there,
whispered Cloudpaw. A bright flicker in the bushes betrayed the white tail of a young rabbit. Fireheart dropped low against the ground. He tensed his muscles, ready to give chase. Beside him, Cloudpaw dropped too, his belly bulging out sideways as he crouched. The rabbit's tail flickered again, and Cloudpaw dashed toward it, his paws thudding heavily onto the dry forest floor. The rabbit heard the noise at once and shot away into the undergrowth. Cloudpaw crashed after it while Fireheart followed on silent paws. The ferns trembled where Cloudpaw had charged through them, and Fireheart felt a stab of disappointment as Cloudpaw skidded, panting, to a halt ahead of him. The rabbit had disappeared.
You wanted better than that when you were a kid,
Fireheart exclaimed. His sister's kit had once had the makings of a fine warrior, but the fluffy white apprentice seemed to be turning as soft as a kitty pet.
Only Starkland knows how you got so fat with a hunting technique like that. Even a fit cat can't outrun a rabbit. You need to be much lighter on your paws if you want to catch one.
He was thankful Sandstorm hadn't come with them. He would have been embarrassed if she had seen what a poor hunter his apprentice had become. Oh my god, he wants to impress her! Okay, he likes her. For once, Cloudpaw didn't argue.
Sorry,
he muttered, and Fireheart felt a pang of sympathy for the young cat. It did look as if Cloudpaw had been trying his best this time, and he couldn't help feeling that he'd let his apprentice down by neglecting his training lately.
Why don't I just go hunting by myself?
Cloudpaw suggested, looking down at his paws.
I promise I'll bring something back for the Freshco pile.
Fireheart studied him for a moment. Cloudpaw couldn't be such a poor hunter all the time, because he was looking more well-fed than any of the cats in the clan. Perhaps he fared better when he wasn't being watched. In a flash, Fireheart decided to follow his apprentice without him knowing and watch him hunt.
That's a good idea.
He agreed.
Just make sure you're back by mealtime.
Cloudpaw brightened instantly.
Of course.
He meowed.
I won't be late, I promise.
Fireheart heard the apprentice's belly growl with hunger.
Perhaps that will sharpen his skills,
he thought. As he listened to Cloudpaw's paw steps fade away into the forest, he felt a flicker of guilt at the thought of spying on him. But he was only going to assess his apprentice's skills, he reminded himself, as any mentor would. So Fireheart easily follows Cloudpaw through the tall pines. Cloudpaw doesn't stop to catch any prey scents that come across his path, instead going straight to the two-leg place, which is interesting. Fireheart wonders if he's going to visit Princess, and if so, why Cloudpaw didn't just tell him. Fireheart would understand visiting Princess, because that's Cloudpaw's mom and Fireheart's sister, so he's a bit confused by this. Cloudpaw does not go to Princess's house. He keeps going, ignoring prey scents until he reaches a birch tree by a green fence. He heaves himself into the tree and up onto the fence. Fireheart knows he'll have to tell him that he has to only hunt in the forest because StarClan has provided it as their food source. Again, with the religious aspects. It's more about, I think, the warrior code, like the code of honor, versus, oh, StarClan gave this to us. Not loving some of the religious aspects, like reading these back. Quote, Cloudpaw jumped down to the other side of the fence. Fireheart quickly scrambled up the birch, thankful that it was in full leaf as he sheltered behind its fluttering leaves. Below, he could see Cloudpaw trotting across the carefully clipped grass, his tail and chin high. A sense of foreboding flowed through Fireheart as Cloudpaw ran straight past a small gang of starlings. The birds scattered upward in a flurry of wings, but Cloudpaw didn't even turn his head. Fireheart felt the blood begin to pound in his ears. If Cloudpaw hadn't come to hunt garden birds, what was he doing here? Then he froze with horror as he watched Cloudpaw sit down outside the two-leg nest and let out a shrill, pitiful wail. Oh, he's begging for food. That's why he's so fat. That's why he's such a chud. Oh no, Cloudpaw more like Chudpaw. So moving on to chapter 10, Cloudpaw greets the two-leg who comes outside warmly, rubbing his face against its hand, and then going inside the two-leg nest, and the door closes behind him. Alright, so he's not only just going to see this two-leg, he's going inside the nest. How anybody didn't smell that on him, I don't know. Fireheart sits in the tree, just completely flabbergasted and lost in thought. He doesn't know what to do, so he sits there until the sun starts to set, and he jumps down to the ground, wondering if he's been wrong about Cloudpaw this entire time. Cloudpaw's actions feel like a betrayal, but it's hard for Fireheart to be mad. Cloudpaw didn't choose clan life like he had. Fireheart continues on, blindly following his own scent trail until he unknowingly arrives at Princess's nest. He doesn't want her to know about her mistake giving Cloudpaw to the clan, so he turns away, going back to Tall Pines. Quote,
Fireheart.
The soft voice of a she-cat cried out behind him.
Princess.
Fireheart froze, his heart sinking, but he couldn't walk away from his sister, not now that she had seen him. He turned back as Princess leaped down from her fence. Her tabby and white pelt rippled softly as she bounded toward him.
I haven't seen you for ages,
she mewed, skidding to a halt. Her tone was sharp with worry.
Even Cloudpaw hasn't visited for a while. Is everything okay?
Everything's fine.
Fireheart stammered. He felt his voice tighten and his shoulders tense with the effort of lying. Princess blinked gratefully, instantly trusting his words, and touched her nose to Fireheart's in greeting. He nuzzled her, breathing in the familiar smell that reminded him of his kithood.
I'm glad,
she purred.
I was beginning to worry. Why hasn't Cloudpaw been to visit? I keep smelling a scent, but I haven't seen him for days.
Fireheart couldn't think of what to say, and felt relieved when Princess carried on chattering.
I suppose you're keeping him busy with his training,
she mewed.
Last time you visited, he told me you were really impressed with his progress. He said he was way ahead of the other apprentices.
Princess sounded delighted, and her eyes shone with pride.
She wants Cloudpaw to become a great warrior as much as I do,
thought Fireheart. Guiltily, he mumbled.
He shows great promise, Princess.
He was my firstborn,
purred Princess.
I knew he'd be special. I still miss him, even though I know how happy he is.
I'm sure all your kids are special in their own way.
Fireheart longed to tell his sister the truth, but he didn't have the heart to tell her that her sacrifice had been wasted.
I must go,
he meowed instead.
Already?
Princess exclaimed.
Well, come back and see me soon, and bring Cloudpaw next time.
Fireheart nodded. He didn't want to return to the camp just yet, but this conversation was making him way too uncomfortable, as if he were confronting the impossible chasm between the forest and kitty pet life. I'm so sad for him. So Fireheart takes the long way back to camp, letting the greenness soothe him. At the top of the ravine, he bumps into Sandstorm again, who asks where Cloudpaw is. Fireheart looks into her green eyes, and he instantly knows that he can trust her. He asks if she's alone, and she says yes, so he sits down at the edge of the ravine, staring down at the trees above the camp. Sandstorm sits next to him and presses against him, and he knows he could get up right now and not tell her anything, and she wouldn't press him. So, he definitely really trusts her. Quote,
Sandstorm,
he began hesitantly.
Yes?
Do you think I made the wrong decision bringing Cloudpaw into the clan?
Sandstorm was silent for a few moments, and when she spoke, her words were careful and honest.
When I looked at him today, lying outside his den, I thought he looked more like a kitty pet than a warrior. And then I remembered the day he got his first pride. He was just a tiny kit, but he went out into a blizzard to catch that vole. He looked so unafraid, so proud of what he had done. He seemed like a clan cat then, born and bred.
So I made the right decision?
Fireheart meowed hopefully. There was another heavy pause.
I think only time will tell,
Sandstorm replied at last. Fireheart didn't say anything. This wasn't the reassurance he'd been hoping for, but he knew she was right.
Has something happened to him?
Asked Sandstorm, her eyes narrowed with concern.
I saw him go into a two-leg nest this afternoon.
Fireheart confessed flatly.
I think he's been allowing them to feed him for a while now.
Sandstorm frowned.
Does he know you saw him?
No.
You should tell him,
advised Sandstorm.
Cloudpaw needs to decide where he belongs.
But what if he decides to return to a kitty pet life?
Fireheart protested. Today it made him realize how much he wanted Cloudpaw to stay in the clan. Not just for his own sake, or to show the other cats that warriors didn't have to be force-born, but for Cloudpaw's sake, too. He had so much to give to the clan, and would be repaid more than enough by their loyalty. Fireheart felt his heart begin to pound at the thought of what Cloudpaw might be about to throw away.
It's his decision,
meowed Sandstorm gently.
If only I'd been a better mentor.
It's not your fault.
Sandstorm interrupted him.
You can't change what's in his heart.
Fireheart shrugged hopelessly.
Just talk to him,
urged Sandstorm.
Find out what he wants. Let him decide for himself.
Her eyes were round with sympathy, but Fireheart still felt miserable.
Go and find him,
she meowed. Fireheart nodded as Sandstorm stood up and padded away into the trees. So, reluctantly, he heads back to the training hollow, really not wanting to confront Cloudpaw. But Sandstorm's right. He can't have a paw in each world. He sits in the hollow until the sun completely sets, sending long shadows across the forest, until finally he hears Cloudpaw approaching. Quote, the apprentice trotted into the clearing with his tail high and his ears pricked. He was carrying a tiny shrew in his jaws, which he dropped as soon as he saw Fireheart.
What are you doing here?
Fireheart heard reproach in the young cat's voice.
I told you I'd be back by mealtime. Don't you trust me?
Fireheart shook his head.
No.
Cloudpaw tipped his head to one side and looked hurt.
Well, I said I'd be back, and I am.
He protested.
I saw you.
Fireheart meowed simply.
Saw me where?
I saw you go into that two-leg nest.
He paused.
So?
Excuse me? That's crazy. Fireheart was shocked almost to speechlessness by Cloudpaw's lack of concern. Didn't he realize what he'd done?
You were supposed to be hunting for the clan.
He hissed, anger burning in his belly.
I did hunt,
answered Cloudpaw. Fireheart looked scornfully at the shrew that Cloudpaw dropped on the ground.
And how many cats do you think that will feed?
Well, I won't take anything for myself,
mewed Cloudpaw.
Only because you're stuffed with kitty pet slop.
Fireheart spat.
Why did you come back at all?
Why wouldn't I? I'm just visiting the two legs for food.
Cloudpaw sounded genuinely puzzled.
What's the problem?
Seething with frustration, Fireheart growled.
I can't help wondering if your mother did the right thing in giving up her firstborn kit to be a clan cat.
Well, she's done it now.
Cloudpaw hissed back.
So you're stuck with me.
I may be stuck with you as an apprentice, but I can keep you from becoming a warrior,
threatened Fireheart. Cloudpaw's eyes widened in surprise.
You wouldn't. You couldn't. I'm going to become such a great fighter that you won't be able to stop me.
He glared defiantly at Fireheart.
How many times do I have to tell you there's more to being a warrior than hunting and fighting? You have to know what you're hunting and fighting for.
Fireheart fought back the fury that rose in his chest.
I know what I'm fighting for. The same as you. Survival.
Fireheart stared at Cloudpaw in disbelief.
I fight for the clan, not myself,
he growled. Cloudpaw gazed steadily back at him.
Okay,
he mewed.
I'll fight for the clan if that's what it takes to become a warrior. It's all the same in the end.
Fireheart felt like clawing some sense into the mouse-brained young cat, but he took a deep breath and meowed as calmly as he could.
You can't live with a paw in two worlds, Cloudpaw. You're going to have to decide. You must choose whether you want to live by the warrior code as a clan cat, or whether you want the life of a kitty pet.
As he spoke, he recalled Bluestar saying exactly the same thing when Tiger Claw had spotted him talking to his old kitty pet friend Smudge at the edge of the forest. The difference was that Fireheart had had no trouble recognizing where his loyalties lay. He had been a clan cat from the moment he had stepped into the forest, in his own mind at least. Cloudpaw looked taken aback.
Why must I choose? I like my life the way it is, and I'm not going to change it just to make you feel better.
It's not just to make me feel better.
Fireheart spat.
It's for the good of the clan. The life of a kitty pet goes against everything in the warrior code.
He watched incredulously as Cloudpaw ignored him and picked up his shrew, then marched past him toward the camp. Fireheart took a long breath, resisting the urge to chase Cloudpaw out of ThunderClan territory once and for all.
Let him decide for himself.
He repeated Sandstorm's words under his breath as he followed his apprentice back to the camp. After all, he told himself desperately, Cloudpaw wasn't doing any harm by eating kitty pet food. He just hoped none of the other cats found out. As they neared the gorse tunnel, Fireheart heard the clatter of dirt cascading down the ravine. He stopped and waited, hoping it was Sandstorm returning from her hunt, but a warm scent on the early evening air told him it was Cinderpelt. The small gray cat jumped awkwardly down from the last rock. Her jaws were full of herbs and she was limping heavily.
Are you okay?
Fireheart asked. Cinderpelt dropped the herbs.
I'm fine, honestly.
She puffed.
My leg is playing up, that's all, and it took me longer than I thought to find the herbs.
You should tell Yellowfang.
Fireheart meowed.
She wouldn't want you overdoing it.
No,
mewed Cinderpelt, shaking her head.
Okay.
Fireheart agreed, surprised by the strength of her refusal.
At least let me carry these herbs for you.
Cinderpelt blinked gratefully at him.
May StarClan banish all the fleas from your nest,
she purred, her eyes twinkling. She kinda flirting with him, though. Okay. See, I like her better as a potential partner for Fireheart than Sandstorm, because I think they understand each other a little bit better.
I didn't mean to snap. It's just that Yellowfang is very busy. Willipelt began her kidding this afternoon.
Fireheart felt a flicker of anxiety. The last kidding he had seen had been Silverstream's.
Is she okay?
Cinderpelt glanced away.
I don't know,
she mumbled.
I offered to collect herbs instead of helping.
A shadow crossed her face.
I didn't want to be there.
Fireheart guessed that she too was thinking of Silverstream.
Come on then.
He meowed.
The sooner we find out how she's doing, the sooner we can stop worrying.
He quickened his pace.
Hold on.
Winced Cinderpelt, limping after him.
You'll be the first to know if I make a miraculous recovery. But for now, you'll have to slow down.
As they entered the camp, Fireheart knew instantly that Willowpelt's kidding had been a success. One Eye and Dappletail were padding away from the nursery, their eyes soft with affection, and their purrs audible even from this side of the clearing. Sandstorm came dashing over to greet them with the good news.
Willowpelt had 2 she-cats and a tom.
She announced.
How's Willowpelt?
Asked Cinderpelt anxiously.
She's fine.
Sandstorm assured her.
She's feeding them already.
Cinderpelt broke into a loud purr.
I must go and see.
She mewed and hobbled toward the nursery. Fireheart spat out his mouth full of herbs and looked around.
Where's Cloudpaw?
Sandstorm narrowed her eyes mischievously.
When Darkstripe saw what a measly cat she'd brought back, he sent him off to clean out the elders' bedding.
Good.
Fireheart meowed, pleased for once with Darkstripe's interference. Heartbreaking. Worst person you know does a good thing.
Did you speak to Cloudpaw?
Asked Sandstorm, her tone turning more serious.
Yes.
Fireheart's happiness at Willowpelt's kidding disappeared like dew under the midday sun as he thought of his apprentice's indifference.
Well?
Prompted Sandstorm.
What did he say?
I don't think he even realizes he's doing anything wrong.
Fireheart meowed bleakly. To his surprise, Sandstorm didn't seem troubled.
He's young.
She reminded Fireheart.
Don't be too upset. Keep remembering his first catch and that you share the same blood.
She gave him a gentle lick on the cheek.
With any luck, it'll show in Cloudpaw one day.
Dustpelt trotted up and interrupted them, his eyes glinting with barely disguised scorn.
You must be proud of your apprentice.
He jeered.
Darkstripe tells me he made the smallest catch of the day.
Fireheart flinched as the warrior added.
You're obviously a great mentor.
Go away, Dustpelt.
Spat Sandstorm.
There's no need to be spiteful. It doesn't impress anyone you know.
Oh, got him. She got him. Fireheart was surprised to see Dustpelt recoil as if Sandstorm had taken a swipe at him. The warrior turned and hurried away, flashing a resentful look at Fireheart over her shoulder.
That's a neat trick.
Fireheart meowed, impressed by Sandstorm's ferocity.
You'll have to teach me how you do it.
I'm afraid it wouldn't work for you.
Sandstorm sighed, staring ruefully after Dustpelt. She had shared her apprenticeship with the Tabby Tom, but their friendship had faltered since Sandstorm had grown closer to Fireheart.
Never mind. I'll apologize later. Why don't we go and see the new kits?
She led the way to the nursery, where Bluestar was just squeezing out of the entrance. The old leader's face was relaxed and her eyes were shining. As Sandstorm slipped inside, she declared triumphantly,
More warriors for ThunderClan.
Fireheart purred.
We'll have more warriors than any clan soon.
The leader's eyes clouded, and Fireheart felt a chill of unease spread across his fur.
Let's just hope we can trust our new warriors better than our old.
Bluestar growled darkly. Her being a doomer about literal infants sure is something.
Are you coming?
Sandstorm called to him from the warm shadows of the nursery. Fireheart shrugged off his fears about Bluestar and pushed his way inside. Willowpelt lay in a nest made of soft moss. 3 kits squirmed in the curl of her body, still damp and blind as they kneaded their mother's belly. Fireheart saw a new softness enter Sandstorm's expression. She leaned forward and breathed in the warm, milky scent of each kit in turn while Willowpelt looked on, her eyes sleepy but content.
They're great,
Fireheart whispered. It was good to see kits again, but he couldn't help feeling a thorn-sharp stab of sorrow. The last newborn kits he'd seen had been Silverstream's, and Fireheart's mind flew instantly to Greystripe. He wondered how his old friend was, whether he was still grieving or whether his new life in RiverClan with his kits had helped to ease his sadness. Fireheart felt his tail bristle as he picked up the scent of Tigerclaw's kit. He turned to see where it was, swallowing the distrust that rose like bile in his throat. Behind him, Goldenflower was curled in her nest, her eyes closed and the kit sleeping soundly at her side. The dark tabby kit looked as innocent as any of its nursery clanmates, and Fireheart felt a pang of guilt at the resentment that ruffled his fur. Okay, buddy, it's time to get over it. This is starting to feel just racist, which is wild, because you'd think him of all cats wouldn't participate in cat racism. So Fireheart wakes early the next day, missing Greystripe so much he decides to try to go see him by the river. As he heads across camp, he spots Dustpelt talking to Fernpaw. Fireheart wonders if he's, quote, poisoning her mind, direct quote, by the way, but he's talking to her in a rather soft voice. Fireheart asks him to lead the Sun High Patrol. Fernpaw asks to come, and Fireheart says he needs to check with Darkstripe, her mentor. Dustpelt says that Darkstripe says she's doing well, and Fireheart suggests he asks Darkstripe about it. Dustpelt reassures him that Fernpaw will be kept safe. His eyes are filled with uncharacteristic concern. Does he like Fernpaw? If so, isn't that like grooming? I don't know, man. So after that, Fireheart leaves camp and races towards Sunning Rocks, realizing the ground is so dry that he's throwing up literal clouds of dust. It hasn't rained in 2 moons, which is bad. When he reaches the RiverClan border, he can't smell Greystripe, so he decides to cross into their territory to try to see him. With luck, their dawn patrol will be patrolling other borders. He debates crossing the river entirely. It's super shallow and crossable because of just how dry it is. Quote, an unexpected scent drifting into his half-open mouth made Fireheart stiffen in surprise. It was the stench of ShadowClan. What were ShadowClan cats doing so far from home? The whole of ThunderClan's territory lay between their land and the river. Alarmed, Fireheart backed into the ferns. He inhaled deeply, trying to pinpoint where the smell came from. With a sickening feeling, he recognized more than the scent of ShadowClan. There was a rancid tang of illness to it that he had smelled recently, and it was coming from farther upriver. Fireheart began to creep slowly through the ferns, their browning tips whispering against his fur. He could see the gnarled trunk of an ancient oak tree ahead of him, just inside the ThunderClan border. Its twisted roots stuck out of the forest floor, the earth under which they had once been buried, long since eroded by wind and rain. Now there was a space underneath, a small cave walled by roots. Fireheart sniffed again. The smell was definitely coming from there, tainted by the unmistakable stench of sickness. Fear and the desire to protect his clan made Fireheart instinctively unsheath his claws. Whatever foulness was in that cave must be driven out of ThunderClan territory. Swallowing the bile that rose in his throat, Fireheart raced for the ferns. He arched his back and stood threateningly in the mouth of the root cave, ready for a fight. But he was met by a heavy silence, broken with shallow, rasping breaths. He stared into the gloom, his hackles raised. As his eyes grew accustomed to the dim light, he blinked in surprise. The last time he'd seen these cats, they had been disappearing under the Thunderpath, back to their own territory. It was the two ShadowClan warriors who had sought help from ThunderClan, Little Cloud and Whitethroat.
Why have you come back?
Fireheart spat.
Go home before you infect every clan in the forest.
He drew back his lips, baring his teeth, when a familiar voice sounded behind him.
Fireheart, stop. Leave them alone.
That's the end of Chapter 10. Getting right into Chapter 11. Quote,
Cinderpelt, what are you doing here?
Fireheart spun around to face the medicine cat.
Did you know about this?
A pile of herbs lay between Cinderpelt's paws. She lifted her chin defiantly.
They needed my help. There was nothing for them in their camp but sickness.
So they came straight back.
Fireheart glared at her angrily.
Where did you find them?
Near Sunny Rocks. I smelled their sickness when I was out collecting herbs yesterday. They were looking for a safe place to hide,
explained Cinderpelt.
And you brought them here.
Fireheart snorted.
They probably only came back onto our land because they knew you'd take pity on them.
Cinderpelt's concern for the ShadowClan cats had been obvious when they were in the ThunderClan camp.
Did you think you could treat them without any cat finding out?
Fireheart demanded. He couldn't believe that Cinderpelt had exposed herself and the rest of the clan to such a risk. So let me get this straight. Fireheart, the notorious enemy clan helper, is now mad at Cinderpelt for helping sick ShadowClan cats. Am I correct? I think I'm correct. I know he's not serious. Cinderpelt met his eyes, undaunted.
Don't pretend you're really angry with me. You felt just as sorry for them,
she reminded him.
You couldn't have turned them away a second time either.
Fireheart could see that she believed she had done the right thing, and he had to admit the truth in her words. He couldn't deny he felt sorry for the sick cats, and had felt uncomfortable with Bluestar's lack of compassion.
Does Yellowfang know?
He asked, his anger fading.
No, I don't think so,
answered Cinderpelt.
How sick are they?
They're starting to recover.
Cinderpelt allowed a hint of satisfaction to enter her voice.
I still smell sickness.
Fireheart meowed suspiciously.
Well, they're not completely cured yet, but they will be.
Little Cloud's voice rasped from the shadows behind him.
We're getting better, thanks to Cinderpelt.
Fireheart could hear that Little Cloud's voice was already stronger than it had been in the ThunderClan camp, and the young warrior's eyes shone brightly in the gloom.
They do sound better,
he admitted, turning back to the young medicine cat.
How did you do it? Yellowfang seemed to think the sickness was deadly.
I must have found the right combination of herbs and berries,
Cinderpelt replied happily. Fireheart noticed she spoke with a confidence he'd not heard in her for a while, and he recognized the spirit of the lively, strong-willed apprentice he had once trained.
Well done,
he meowed. He thought instinctively of how Bluestar would relish the news that a ThunderClan cat might have found a cure for ShadowClan's strange sickness. But then he remembered that Bluestar was not the leader she had once been. It wouldn't be safe to tell her that Cinderpelt had been hiding ShadowClan cats in ThunderClan territory. Her judgment had been clouded by her obsession with the threat of attack. Fireheart realized that as long as the ShadowClan cats remained here, they were in danger. He was afraid Bluestar would order them to be killed at once if she found out they were still on ThunderClan territory.
I'm sorry, Cinderpelt.
He shook his head.
These cats must leave. It's not safe for them here.
Cinderpelt flicked her tail in frustration.
They're too ill to return to their own camp yet. I might be able to heal them, but I'm no good as a hunter. They haven't eaten properly for days.
I'll catch them something now,
Fireheart offered.
It should give them enough strength to travel home.
But what about when we get back?
Whitethroat rasped from the shadows. Fireheart couldn't answer that, but he couldn't risk their sickness finding its way into the ThunderClan camp. What if a ShadowClan patrol came into ThunderClan territory looking for their missing warriors?
I'll feed you, then you must go,
he repeated. Little Cloud's voice was hoarse and high-pitched as he pushed himself to a sitting position, his paws scrabbling on the hard earth.
Please don't send us back. Nightstar is so weak. It's as if the sickness takes a new life from him each day. Most of the clan thinks he's going to die.
Fireheart frowned.
Surely he has plenty of lives left.
You haven't seen how ill he is,
cried Whitethroat.
The clan is scared. There's no cat ready to take his place.
What about Cinderfur, your deputy?
Asked Fireheart. The two ShadowClan cats looked away and didn't answer. Did that mean that Cinderfur had died already, or that he was just too old to become a leader? Like Nightstar, Cinderfur had been an elder when Broken Tail had been driven out. Fireheart felt a sympathy winning in spite of his better judgment.
Okay.
He sighed reluctantly.
You can stay here until you're strong enough to travel.
Thank you, Fireheart.
Little Cloud meowed wheezily. His eyes glittered with gratitude. Fireheart dipped his head, realizing how hard it must be for these proud ShadowClan warriors to admit they were dependent on another clan. Yeah, that's what I thought. Fireheart is addicted to helping. Some people have gambling addictions. Fireheart has a helping addiction. He turned away and padded past Cinderpelt. She whispered as he passed.
Thanks, Fireheart. I knew you would understand why I took them in.
Her eyes brimmed with compassion.
I couldn't let them die, even if they were from another clan.
And Fireheart knew she was thinking of Silverstream, the River Clan queen she had not been able to save. He licked her ear affectionately.
You are a true medicine cat.
He purred.
That's why Yellowfang chose you as her apprentice.
So Fireheart easily finds prey for the ShadowClan warriors and brings it back, leaving it just outside the tree den, afraid of getting too close to the sickness. Cinderpelt is making poultices nearby. Quote, he looked at Cinderpelt as she worked, feeling a sudden tingle of fear for the small cat. She must have entered the cave many times.
Are you okay?
He meowed quietly. Cinderpelt looked up from her herbs.
Yes, I'm fine,
she replied.
And I'm glad you found out about these cats. I didn't like keeping secrets from the clan.
Fireheart flicked his tail uneasily.
I think we should keep this to ourselves,
he told her. Cinderpelt narrowed her eyes.
Aren't you going to tell Bluestar?
Normally I would.
Fireheart began hesitantly.
But she's still not over the tiger claw thing.
Cinderpelt finished. Fireheart sighed.
Sometimes I think she's getting better, but then she'll say something or...
He trailed away.
Yellowfang says it will take time for her to recover,
mewed Cinderpelt.
Then she's noticed too.
To be honest,
Cinderpelt murmured regretfully.
I think most of the clan has.
What are they saying?
Fireheart wasn't sure if he wanted to hear the answer.
She has been a great leader for a long time. They are simply waiting for her to become like that again.
Cinderpelt's reply soothed Fireheart. The clan's faith was moving and should be trusted. Of course Bluestar would recover. I don't know, man. I really hope so.
Are you coming back with me?
He meowed.
I have to finish up here.
Cinderpelt picked up another berry with her teeth and started to chew. So Fireheart heads back to camp, giving himself a good wash to rid himself of the sickness stench. He bumps into Sandstorm again, outside the gorse tunnel. When she asks where he's been, he admits to trying to visit Greystripe. She is not upset about this, and she asks if there's been any signs of Cloudpaw. He went solo hunting this morning and has not returned. She suggests they try to find him together, so they do just that. They head into Tall Pines, Sandstorm less comfortable in the area than he is. So he eventually takes the lead. Quote, as they padded out from the pine forest and into the green woods, Fireheart sensed that Sandstorm's anxiety was building. He glanced at her and saw the tension in her shoulders as the line of two-leg nests loomed ahead of them.
Are you sure this is the way he would have come?
She whispered, looking nervously from side to side. A dog barked and Sandstorm's fur bristled.
It's okay. The dog won't leave its garden,
Fireheart assured her, feeling uncomfortable that he knew things like this. Sandstorm had taunted him about his kitty pet origins when he had first joined the clan, and now that she accepted him so completely as a forest cat, he was reluctant to remind her that he had been born somewhere different.
Don't the two legs bring their dogs out here?
She asked.
Sometimes.
Fireheart admitted.
But we'll have plenty of warning. Two-legged dogs don't exactly creep through the woods. You'll hear them before you smell them, and their stench isn't subtle.
He hoped his humor might help Sandstorm relax, but she remained as tense as ever.
Come on,
he urged.
Cloudpaw sent us here.
He rubbed his cheek against a bramble stem.
Does it smell fresh to you?
Sandstorm leaned forward and sniffed the bramble.
Yes.
Then I think we can guess where he was heading.
Fireheart padded around the bramble, relieved that at least the trail was leading them away from Princess's garden. He had no desire for Sandstorm to meet his kitty pet sister just yet. Since he had brought Cloudpaw to the camp, the clan all knew that he visited her, but they had had no real idea of the affection that bonded him to Princess, and he preferred to keep it that way. It was best to keep the other cats as certain as he was that his heart lay with the clan, in spite of his friendship with his sister. As they neared the fence that Cloudpaw had climbed the day before, Fireheart felt an ominous chill ripple through his pelt. There were new scents here, as well as Cloudpaw's. Something had changed. He led Sandstorm to the silver birch, and she followed him lightly up the smooth trunk and into its branches. Fireheart could see her whiskers twitching as she sniffed the air. Fireheart peered through the windows in the two-leg nest. The space inside looked curiously dark and empty. He jumped as the door slammed, making a strange echoing bang like a thunderclap. He began to feel alarmed.
What is it?
Asked Sandstorm nervously as Fireheart leaped down to the fence, his tail fluffed up.
There's something strange going on. The nest is empty. Stay there,
he ordered.
I'm going to have a closer look.
He crept across the garden, keeping low. As he neared the door to the two-leg nest, he heard paw steps behind him. He spun around and saw Sandstorm, her face tense but determined. He nodded at her, silently agreeing she could stay with him if she wanted, then turned toward the door again. Just then, the loud rumble of a monster started up. Fireheart slipped down the passage that skirted one side of the nest. His fur bristled with fear, but he kept going until he had reached the edge of the pathway. He peered out from the shadows to where bright sunshine flooded a treeless maze of two-leg nests and pathways. He felt Sandstorm panting at his side, her pelt lightly brushing his.
Look,
he hissed. A gigantic monster, almost as big as a two-leg nest, stood on the thunderpath. The deafening growl was coming from the belly of the monster. Both cats flinched as another door to the nest clattered shut just around the corner from them. Fireheart saw Two-Leg walking toward the monster with something swinging from its hand. It looked like a den woven from brittle dead stems. Through the hard mesh at one end of the den, Fireheart could see a soft white pelt. He peered closer and felt his heart lurch as he recognized the face behind the mesh, its eyes stretched wide with terror. It was Cloudpaw. I hate to say it, but karma. Man, that's some karma right there. And that is the end of chapter 11, and that is where we're gonna stop for today. Well, Cloudpaw is getting kidnapped now. That's horrible, but kind of what he gets for completely just breaking the law and eating kitty pet slop and being kind of a horrible apprentice. Like, I hate to say it, but there's only so long you can get away with things like that. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Cat Tales. I hope wherever you are, you're having good weather. I know for me, I live in a place where it was 85 degrees and the next day it was 30 degrees and snowing. Climate change is real, folks. If you don't believe climate change is real, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I will be back next week. May Starkland light your path.